Yay! Awesome. I think we are live. I almost had a panic attack. I couldn't get OBS to start up. I was like, oh no, not today. Uh, hey, Jamie and Sue and Louise and Marianne. Hi, Susan. Yay, we're live. We have like a minute, so I'm going to give it just a few seconds before I play the intro and we will get started. Let's see. Has anybody got the Cricut update? I lost my Cricut app. Oh no. Let me grab that real quick. We're going to need that. There he is. I don't know how he got removed from my bar. Okay, I think I'm set. Let's go ahead and play the intro, guys, and we'll get started. Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you to my moderators. Thank you to my Patreons and my Ko-fi supporters. Greatly appreciate you guys. We are going to put this heart vase with gift box together tonight, and there's a couple of little quirks on it that I want to cover with everybody. This is a supporter only file. However, you can learn how to set up your own file by watching us here with the tutorial, the pieces and parts that you'll need, and watching us put it together. Welcome, guys that are new. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button and give a thumbs up, like. That's one thing I forgot to test. Let me double check that. Yep, it is working. So make sure that you subscribe, give a thumbs up, like. That way you'll get notifications if you hit that little notification bell down below whenever we go live. We also have a calendar in our Cricut Maker Projects group and our Cricut Crafting with April group that tell you when we're going to go live, life permitting. That is scheduled to change. So, welcome to our new members. Again, thank you Ko-fi supporters and Patreon supporters. If you are a monthly supporter, this file is available on craftingwithapril.co, not com, craftingwithapril.co on the exclusives tab. And what we have here, we have our base. Now you can, even if you don't have a maker, guys, it's okay. If you have an Explorer, you can use cereal box. You're just going to have to cut 2 or 3 of these pieces and layer them together. I'm doing the one that we're doing tonight slightly different than the one in the photo, but I am going to show you guys how to do it. This is the gift box that goes into that, the top and the bottom, and I'm going to show you guys how to put that together. And then this is a Make It Now file. For those of you who have access, if you want to make your own file and you're not a supporter, this is it right here. This is Rose MA3E21. You do need the hashtag in front of that, but this is that file. And it's also in the Make It Now projects on top of an octagon box. So I used that, I cheated and used that for my decor piece, but you can decorate your little vase any way that you want to do it. So now that we've got those, this is your greenery. Guys, you probably won't need all of these pieces, but I put those in there and I attached them together in a group so that they would lay out on a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. Okay. So if you detach them, you're going to have to rework it because I had to do some finagling and moving around of all of those to get them on one sheet of paper. And then these are on one sheet, of course. These are the larger ones that are in the photo, and I'm about to pop over and show you guys that and how we're going to put that together. Let's go over. There we go. Make sure it switches for you guys. But this is the one that's in the photos that I did. Now I did this out of the Damask 1.5 millimeter chip. Not quite as sturdy as I would want this right here. So you can either change this heart and have it fill in and make it really sturdy off to the side maybe if you want to, or put just a half circle right here maybe, something, but that's going to change this line. But if you're using 1.5, it can be a little thin. It will work. Mine's working just fine. It stands up with no problem. But I accidentally, while putting my box in there, pushed down on it instead of picking it up and inserting the box. And when I did, it broke down. So just be careful of that. This will work. It won't do that. It won't be flimsy. It's good and sturdy, but you can't push down on it. You can cut it from wood. The one that I'm doing tonight, I'm cut from the 2.millimeter chipboard. I just love that Damask though. I cut it from the 1.5. This is the 1.5, and then you have the plain 1.5, which you can do like we're doing the 2.0 tonight, or you can do cereal box and glue them all together and then add a decorative panel like we're going to do tonight. So there's several options available. Doesn't matter which machine you have, you can still make this. And then I just did like a little loop on here, and this is just tucked in as a piece just for decoration to make it look like I had a loop in there, but it's not really a loop. We've got the lid and then the base that goes right in there, so you can put anything that you want into that box and then place it into your vase. And again, you want to pull it up. And I knew that was going to come out, but I wanted to show you guys. Now I don't remember where I had it. I don't know which one it was in. Oh, there it is. So when we roll our flowers, sometimes, I'm going to show you on this one, it's easier. I'm just going to go ahead and tuck that one back in. I haven't glued it yet because I was waiting on my glue gun to heat up. But I'm going to show you, I don't know if you guys have done rolled flowers before, but sometimes the centers unroll too much for us. And in the photos that you see, these were not filled in because I forgot to put them in before I took my photos. I got so excited. But I'm going to show you guys how to do that. But sometimes our centers just don't fill in well when we're doing our flowers and we have a big hole in them. These pieces will help you with that. You can use these two different ways, and we'll get into that when we go to put those together. I went ahead and rolled a bunch of them, but I did leave a couple unrolled so that I could show you that and show you how to roll them. So I'm just going to set those off to the side till the end. Those are our rolled flowers, and these are the decorative pieces for our top and our leaves. So let's just move that out of the way. This project is so fun and so easy. Now again, I cut this out of the, don't want to lose that, out of the 2mm chipboard. And I left a piece of tape on here because when you're doing the knife blade, you do want to tape down your material to your purple mat, like they tell you. The mistake a lot of people make is when you have a piece of tape on the edge, don't just try to peel that off, guys, because it will make your chip split, if you know what I mean. Start from the inside and bring that tape out and peel it that way very slowly. Peel it from the inside out, and then it won't make your chip peel. So now you're going to have 5 pieces, or if you're using cereal box, you're going to have more than that. Before you put them together, if you're using plain chip, you'll need to cut decorative pieces, and they're just the same exact pieces that we have here. And I am covering the front and back of each of mine. I did make enough room on this pattern to give you room to use the cereal box, to use 2.0, to use wood. Whatever material you want to use, you can use it for this because you're going to hot glue this together. So some materials, it may be looser than it is with others. And you know what? I forgot to mirror. I'm going to have to recut those two. Make sure that when you cut your second one that you mirror one, okay? I'm just going to put, the inside of mine's just going to be green. That's all there is to it because I didn't do it right. If you're using pattern cardstock, mirror just like you would on iron-on. But I just totally forgot it. And I didn't. So now I've got a green underneath, which will be pretty contrast, so it's okay. It'll work out. But you're just going to make sure that you get all the edges really good on your cardstock. I'm using art glitter glue. I use it for 99% of all of my paper gluing, no matter what my project is. But you're just going to line that up on there. If you want to color the edges of your chipboard, do it before you glue everything on there and your paper on there, unless you want to get ink on the paper too. If you want to kind of ink the edges as well, then put it on and then ink your edges. Totally up to you for this. You've seen me do it. And that's what I mean by peeling up. This was my fault where it peeled my cardstock, my chipboard right there, because I simply totally forgot. Yeah, the back of mine's going to be green. Oh well. Not what the look I was going for, guys, so I was in a hurry and did mine before while I was rushing out to get tags for the cars. But you're going to glue all of these together accordingly. And then you're going to flip it over. And if you mirrored your cardstock, you're going to put your pretty side down. Which I didn't, so. I never cut out my mistakes. That way you guys can learn. I knew to do it. I knew I was doing something wrong when I did it. And it just didn't dawn on me. All you have to do really is just flip your piece of paper over your pretty side over. And that's the same as mirroring when you're working with pattern cardstock. So that piece is ready. Now we're going to do this piece. And you'll be surprised how fast. Now, this is the 2.0 chipboard, and it said 24 passes, okay? It actually cut in 11 passes, guys. So don't panic. This thing cut in 20 minutes with the chipboard, which is pretty quick. It's only one sheet. I have those welded together in the design also so that it will cut on one sheet. That's all we're doing is just covering each and every one of these pieces. And that is why the file may be loose if you don't use cardstock and you do the damask chipboard or the 1.5, is because I had to allot for the thickest materials. And if you want yours to fit tighter, you can always go in on the file and weld in just slightly on all of your insets here and get those covered. Well, this piece will work out because it's identical. And if you have any curling of your edges or lifting of your chipboard And that was totally me. I just didn't take it off the mat carefully. You can glue it down just a little bit and it'll be fine. Be careful on some of the glues that you use. Like this one here is a water-based glue. Too much water will make your chipboard swell, the moisture from it. So be aware of that when you're working with chip or you're painting it, things like that. It will swell up if you're not careful. You get too much on there. But all we're doing is making this pretty. Is anybody having any design space issues? Yeah, it's going to be green on the back side. That would be pretty too, because it's going to go together like this. So I kind of messed mine up, but you guys will put yours together the right way, because I've already made the mistake for you. But that's good too, because then you guys can see when it goes together. It will give you more contrast. It won't run together on camera. So it's a bonus. And that's what I mean by some of the chip lifting on the edges. Just make sure you glue that down and bring that back together. And that was just careless removal from the mat. I am using the Cricut 2.0 on this. There's a Cricut link below, guys. And I almost messed up. I did mess up. 1 second. Let me grab a baby wipe. I just told myself not to do that and did it anyway. Because I know how it was supposed to be, I guess. Whew, quick save. Gotta glue this side. It's gonna curl a little bit from moisture, but we're gonna flatten back out. And the paper I am using here, guys, is also Cricut. This is the Anna Griffin Rose Medley. I think it's still available. I don't think they discontinued this paper, did they, Jamie? Hey, Linda. So now we have all of our pieces all prettied up, and what you're going to do is take this piece right here with the hook and the other piece, and you're going to feed that into the slot. And it may be tough when it's wet like this. I like to put a book on mine, and hopefully I can get it in there with all that cardstock on there. A book on mine and let them dry. Hopefully I can get it in. Maybe not. I'm having one of those days already. It's not wanting to work for me. Because you really should let these dry really well after putting your cardstocks on. I may. Peel one of these off just to get it in there. Sorry about that, guys. This is not supposed to happen, but sometimes it does. There we go. Your chip shouldn't be wet for sure. Always when you're live, right? There's more than one way to skin a cat. If you can't get yours in like I can't get mine in, there is an alternative. Yay! I think I just about got it. Wow. Yeah, make sure you let it dry before you attempt to put that in there. Yay. Because it doesn't really fit that tight. Mine is fitting that tight because it's still wet. But you can cut that tail off of there and just hot glue it right here, because we're going to hot glue that anyway. And I'll put my decorative piece back on this side later, or either color it with a Copic marker. Whew. So now I got that one. Hopefully the rest of them will fit fine. Just gonna run that up in there just like that on both sides. The 2.0 is very tight. You may not need any hot glue with the 2.0, guys, but you will need it with the 1.5. There. And you're just going to interlock them, and then you're going to come over to the back and do the same. And it can be a little bit tight to get those in. There you go. I bent my wet chip. Yours won't be wet because you're going to let it dry before you attempt this. But it's going to go together the same way. Okay? And this isn't really needed for the 2.0, but this little round circle with the slit in it is going to go on the slit end of this chip. But I am going to glue mine down and get it really tight before I put that on there, because I've already destroyed it trying to put it in that one, and I need to glue it where I tore it. But it's in there. It's in there really tight. So then what I did, if you're using the 1.5 or cereal box, once you have it all together and it's lined up, I just ran a bead of glue right down each side and held them together. Just a thin bead. You don't need a whole lot. Like I said, it's pretty tight, but it may be a little loose for your 1.5s. Just let it cool. And then I came down the other side. And I stopped in between my little cutouts. Just right here. Those little places. And if you feel like you need to put it on the inside, do it on the inside, but do it very thin because your box has to go in there. Okay? Is everybody with me so far? Yes, the 1.5 will work. That's what this is, Susan. And I didn't have to force it like I did this, but you have to remember this one. Chipboard is funny. because when I tested it, it all fit perfectly with 2 sheets of cardstock and the chipboard and all of that. But you saw that I just put all that glue on there, and I said it will make it swell. Because it is a water-based glue, it's absorbing that moisture, and that's why it's very tight and it's hard to get in there. But if you place a book on it and let it dry for a couple of hours and let that moisture go out of it, then it should slip in there without any problems whatsoever. The 1.5 fit perfectly, and I didn't glue that, but I did glue down here. But you can see, I mean, I can still get paper up under there for this one. So there's plenty of room for the with the 1.5. And the file is set for 2.0, but the moisture in the air and everybody's is going to be different. I wish I could tell you don't use but 1 sheet of cardstock, but it's not going to matter. You need to test it once you've cut it. Make sure that it'll fit in there. If not, just take a pair of scissors and just snip just a hair out of there so that you can have some maneuver room. I didn't think about me doing this without letting it dry on camera, and so mine is still swelled up from putting the glue all over it. So that's why I'm having a hard issue with it being so tight to fit in there. But if you let yours dry and everything, it should fit. If it doesn't, you're just going to take a pair of scissors and just snip just the thinnest little piece out of there, and it's going to fit in there without any problem. You won't have to work on it so hard. Did that make sense? I hope. And here is the box bottom. Again, this is out of that same set of paper, and I'm just going to fold it on its score lines. It kind of creates a triangle, and I am going to have this as the inside of my box. And then you have your tabs on each one. You're going to fold those over, and all we're going to do is glue those. And you want to make sure that you keep that square nice and square when you bring those sides together. You're welcome, Susan. Chipboard is a learning experience, guys. If you haven't worked with it, I love it myself. I love to do chipboard because it makes nice sturdy projects like this. And you can make jewelry boxes and all sorts of stuff out of it. But you do have to learn to work with it, especially when you're doing pieces like we're doing tonight, where they intersect and go together like that rather than being hinged. And I know some of you won't know what I mean by being hinged. A lot of times we bring these together with paper hinges and then cover them. But this kind of project you can't do that way. I've got a couple of chipboard projects. For those of you who don't know what I mean by hinges, if you watch that, you will know immediately. So there's my base to my box, and then the lid. And the lid has 2 holes right here, and I'm not going to do those tonight, but I usually, on this one that I did as my mock-up, I did use rivets in those holes just so that they would stay and not be worn. But after I did it, I'm like, don't need to do that. It'll hold without it. So we're not going to do that on this one. I'm just going to fold in your corners, same way on this, and glue your tabs to create your little triangle. Keep them straight. And I forgot to angle this right here. It hasn't been a problem on those two, but I'm just going to snip a piece off. And all I did was just snip right there just so it would line up and not hang over the edge. I got lucky with those two, but I know the third one wasn't going to work. and I will go into the file and fix that. That was my bad. I forgot to do it after my last test cut. So there is the lid. Then you're going to have a piece like this, and that is for your ribbon. And I think I'm going to go with the green on this. But I've just got a piece of ribbon. It's, I don't know, about 12 inches. And I've got some tearing tape here. I'm just going to put one end in, because I'm not going to leave it this long, trust me. It's just a scrap of ribbon. But I know somebody will ask me how long it is, and I don't really know. Probably about 6 inches. I'm just going to put a piece of tearing tape on that. Get it off my finger. And tearing tape is just a double-sided tape that is paper so that you can peel it. I'm just going to pull this back through, and then I'm going to, I know you guys can't see with my hands in the way, stick it down on the inside like that. That's all I'm going to do. And I'm just going to leave myself a loop. Yeah, I guess about 12 inches is right for that, because there's ways of working around it as well. You could probably get by with a little bit less. But I'm just going to put a piece on here as well. Tear that off. Take the paper off, and then I'm just going to pull that through, and I'm going to stick it down the same way. Just got to stick it down, okay? And then I'm going to place this piece over that. Pay attention to your edges on this piece especially, because it's going to be going in and out of this box here. And you don't want it to hang up with the bulk of that ribbon. So that top edge, or that front edge right here, is very important that it is stuck thoroughly. I'm just going to give it a second here, give it a good rub. Okay. And that way it's finished on the inside. Okay. And then this is where our flowers are going to go. And that is almost it for the wet glue here. Let me just bring out our pieces. We have a few more pieces, and that's just going to fit right down inside of the vase. Okay? Fits right inside. And you can put any kind of decor you want on the top of these. Doesn't matter. Totally up to you. But these pieces align like so. We have a light and a dark green. This are all Cricut cardstocks, guys. All of this. I'm just going to pop it down right on the top. And that's going to give it a little contrasting color on the leaves. And then you also have the second piece. I'm just going to give that a second to dry, and then we're going to curl it. Make sure I'm lining this up the right way. This piece is so weird, it gives me a fit every time. There we go. Just make sure it lines up. Be very careful taking these off your mat. It has some fragile pieces on it. I did not design these pieces, but some of the petals are a little fragile when you're peeling them up. Has anybody had any design space issues this week? I know some of you are getting the download out of beta. I got my windows. I think Jamie got her windows version. And all I'm doing after these dry, guys, is just curling them a little, just to give them a little dimension. And I put the wide one, which is the wide at the top, on this end. And then I put the one that was skinnier on this end. Totally up to you how you want to do those. And I just laid them up there to dry while I worked on other stuff. I didn't put them together till the end. Your flower petals, your leaves, I did use my flower tools and kind of give them a cup. And this is the Cricut paper crafting set, this pad and the quilling tool. And it comes with a, I don't have a flower tool. This is not it, but it looks like this, a distressing, edge distressing from Cricut. These I got off of Amazon. These are fondant tools for cake decorating, but they have a metal shaft all the way through. They make one that's a little bit better than that. It's by McGill, but McGill does not have one this big. So I like it for bigger flowers and things like that. And then you want this little circular piece, this piece right here, to go underneath your flower, your leaf. So just a tiny bit of glue and put it up underneath and hold that down. You don't want your circle to be on top. You want the cup up. I believe is the way I did mine. It doesn't really matter because you can flip them after they're dried. I've done it before. As a matter of fact, I did it with the other one. But I do one way and one the other way. And that way I've got a 50-50 shot of them working like I want them. Just going to set that to the side. And we're going to glue these cupped the other way. So I'm just going to go back with my tool and I'm just going to cup them the other way. And again, that's going to go underneath. Super, super easy. And I did do most of the flower rolling before the live, so you guys didn't have to sit through all of those. I just didn't get to these. I was going to do one of these, and so I only had to do one, but then my OBS wouldn't start. Then you have these pieces. These are like little guides, that's what I call them, to help you place your flowers. You can skip them, you can use them, whatever. I just like to give a little bit of dimension. I don't glue these down, that way I can lift the petals up should I want to. I just kind of glue right down the center with these. That way I have some playroom. I have to figure out which way this goes. I can never. These are just weird. There it goes. Just like that. You can match them up on your green. You can see if those petals match, then you've got it the right way. But all your petals should match up. And again, I'm just going down the middle. That way I've got room to play with those leaves should I need to at the end. So we're just going to set those. And then I left the two big ones. That way you guys could see how to roll them. I've got the Cricut quilling tool. And I also have this. This was from my mother's stash. I really don't know what it's called, but I believe she used this one with making aluminum cans. I don't know if you guys remember years ago, they used to quill aluminum cans and make rocking chairs and airplanes and all sorts of stuff out of them. But this was in her stash, and I believe that's what this is, but it has one slot on it where your Cricut tool is a slot that goes all the way through. This one only goes through on one side, and it's closed up. So I don't really know what this tool is called. I really don't, but I do use it with my flower making. Especially these big ones. I'm going to do one on the Cricut tool just to show you can do the big ones on there. And I'm just holding it flat against my finger and I'm rolling the tool and then I'm stopping. Especially with these tiny ones, guys. These can be torn easily. I am using Cricut 80-pound cardstock. 65 does work better, but you can use 80. So just be careful when you get to these areas where it's cut into the petals, on the sides of the petals, that you don't tear them. If it starts to tear, you may need to give yourself a little drop of glue, and that's going to cause you that's going to give you a tight floral center. So if you want the tight center, you might want to give it a little bit of a turn and then stop and put some glue and then finish turning it so that when it gets to the end, it springs out some, but that center stays tight. I don't like to glue my centers for these, and I'll show you why here when we get to the end of this one. Just trying to keep this edge even with the end is all I'm doing to give it a good roll. And they don't have to be tight at this end point here. I'm just going to let it go and pull it off of there, because now I'm going to glue it right here on this end, right here on this circle petal. I'm just going to squirt a little bit of glue, and I'm using low temp glue, don't need the high temp for cardstock, and I'm just pressing that down. I wanted it to spring out just a little, and I got that. Okay, now these, I'm going to do this one for you. These you can cup. Get a good cup on them. And then they can go on top of these to help you figure out where you want your centers or your flowers to go and give them those extra petals so that it gives your flower just a little bit of a different look. Okay. These are in the file. But I found, and if you look at this flower here, you can see that my center rolled out a good bit. A little bit more than I wanted. So I'm going to take that medium-sized one here. I'm going to cup it. And then I am going to pinch each one of these leaves, because I just wanted to break the paper down. That's the only reason I cupped it, to give it some softness. And then I'm just going to fold it in just like so. Put a little dab of glue on the bottom of it, and I am going to shove it right down into that center. And it's going to give my flower, usually, if I didn't let go of it too quickly, which I did. Let me squeeze it up again. My low temp glue dried before I got it in there again. And push it right down into that center. You guys probably won't be able to see on this one. Getting my glue hairs off of there. But it filled in that center where it opened up too much. Okay? This one's a better example I'm going to show you guys. You can see how open that one opened up, and that was more than I wanted, and you can even see my glue in there. But I took this piece, and you're just going to glue it. I did the exact same thing. And then I'm just going to hold it and tuck it right down into there and give myself a little bit better center on that large rose. So that's basically what I use them for. And you can use them for fillers and stuff like that too. But they are in the file. If you don't think that you're going to use them or you don't want them, you don't have to use them. Because not all of my flowers needed them. Some of them stayed tight. Most all of these did. Most all of these have good centers. I have one right here that doesn't have a really good center. So I will probably take one of the really teeny tiny small ones and fold it up and stick it down in there. And you can even, if you think you only need like 2 or 3 leaves, you can use those off of there for that too. Just to give them a more realistic look. And we're going to take it one step further and I'll show you how I did these. I'm not going to do them all. I'm just going to show you guys how I did it. Almost went the wrong way with that. So now we have my big one, and I am going to use my big tool for this one. You can use a pencil, you can use a bamboo skewer if you have these great big ones. Sometimes I have rolled them on the Cricut one, and it comes all the way down to the shaft down here. So you can do it, but this one's just easier for me. But I'm just rolling. Super, super simple, easy project, guys. And again, it took about 20 minutes to cut the chipboard, and it took maybe 15 minutes to cut all the others because I did cut all of mine on intricate cardstock, which means it cuts not deep on the first cut and then cuts a second cut. And so I'm just going to let that spring out a little bit. And again, I'm just going to place my glue right here. Don't need a lot. And I'm just going to set that on there and tuck down that center. Okay. And then to make it more realistic, I curl the edges on my big flowers. I don't do it on all of my tiny ones. Some of the medium ones I do. And this, again, is where this tool comes in a lot easier because it has a wider gap in it. And I can just get right up on those flowers really quick, really easy. Instead of the Cricut tool, which really takes a long time to try to line up these, to do curling like this. For me, it does anyway because the slot is a little too small. But I just do some curling on them and on my big ones. And you can also ink your edges. But I'm just going on there and curling them just to give it some dimension. On these wide leaves, you can curl them both ways. So this side and then come back on this side. See if you guys can see that. And across the top, I just go in and even if it gives it a little tear, that doesn't bother me because I want to curl that piece the other way anyway. And I do not go all the way into the center of the flower. Sometimes I'll go in a little deeper on others. But that's the way that you curl them. I'm not going to sit here and curl all of these and make you guys sit through that. But you can see I didn't curl but just a little bit on these just to give them that little bit of extra dimension. That's it. So now we're going to pull that box out of there. Well, actually, I'm going to leave that box in there for a second. Make sure it's sitting where it's supposed to. And then I'm just going to kind of judge how I want that. And I want the little inset right here up against that ribbon. Just like that. That tells me where I want to be. Okay? And I used foam dots for that. Just to give it a little pop up. And these are the black ones. You can get them several different places, but you just need a couple. And all I'm doing here is making sure that with the bottom box on there that this leaf is inside there and this is inside. What hangs over at this point will hang outside, so it won't matter. And I'm just going to pull the bottom out and give that a mash just to make sure it's stuck good. I don't really need the bottom at this point. So I've got that there. Now let's take this piece, and I think I want the same thing. Right here where these leaves meet, I'm going to go up against that there. Oh, it's Louise's birthday. How come I didn't get a notification, Louise? Yes, you could use this for Mother's Day, for birthdays, for Valentine's. You could even do a Christmas version of this, because you can change this part in your box to whatever you want. The flowers you can use, you could even make a corsage out of it. So that would be totally awesome to make a corsage. So I'm going to start with the biggest rose. And the way I did this is I didn't care which way my ribbon went. I just wanted a loop up here because I'm going to fold another piece and tuck in behind one of my roses. So it's totally up to you. But I did start with this one being in the center. And I think I'm just going to use hot glue for this, guys, so I don't have to wait on the other glue to dry. Oops. I'm just putting a little bit on there. And then I'm going to tuck it in the way I want it to face. And that's backwards. There we go. The way you want it to face. And just give it a press down. You can ink these edges as well. I forgot to show you guys that. I did it on a couple of these. You can use your pens or your little sponge inks. I did not ink all of them because I just wanted some variation. I'm going to try not to hit the box on this one, but try to just brushing some ink from an ink pad just to give it a little depth and dimension on the flower. And you can totally skip that step if it's not for you. But I wanted some variation in the colors like these. But I just went with a contrasting color. This will dry a little lighter than what I put it on there. It's very subtle. So then we're going to take our next biggest one, and that's where this piece goes up under at this point. That's what I did. Just kind of tucked it up under. It doesn't have to be completely under, just a little bit, because this loop is going to come up here. And then I glued this guy in here, and it goes in tight. Just turn it, play with it, get it in a position that you like it. And I like it like that. But always put it in there and look at it before you glue it down. Make sure that you're putting it in a position that is going to look good. And I'm not going to do this whole thing, guys, but I'm just going to show you how I mixed and matched. I took some of the smallers and placed them, used this for a guide, and all I did was take like a dot of hot glue, because I rolled everything and I worked like 2 or 3 at a time. And then where the largest one was, I placed one. And then I got one of my smaller flowers and placed it. And then one of the medium flowers and placed it. And we'll just put them on that in that manner. And again, you can add some of these in cupped if you want to, if you feel like you need them. I need a small one there. I've got that little small area there. I'm gonna check it. I want a little bit bigger one in there. Yeah. So just play with them. You've got enough flowers to put what you want in there. Oh, what the heck. We'll put them all on there. Why not? And that's one side. Let's pop over to this side. And I've got another big one here. Just going to pull my ribbon up like I want it. Because we didn't really glue this down, you can still have room and time to play with this piece of ribbon. I'm going to put it just like that. I'm just going to drop my glue there so I can see where I'm going, and then bring this flower up under. Just like that. I'm only going to use 3 on this one. I used 4 on the other, but I don't think I need it really. It's going to come out different when you do them because you're placing flowers in different positions. See, I had that set for 3 and I only used 2. I'm just going to start with my teeny tiny one at the bottom. Okay. Glue hairs. You have to pick all of those off too. I think my glue got too cool right there. And this stuff is stringy. Low temp is always stringy to me. And that's basically it, guys, except for your leaves. And now I'm just going to kind of lift up my flowers. And you can put these on before your flowers too if you want to. I like to do them after so I know where they're going. You can cut them off the stems however you want to do it, because they're being glued down, so it doesn't really matter. We're not wrapping them on a stem. I'm just gonna kind of feed that through. And now I'm gonna go under and glue that one. I'm gonna snip this one off. That one off. And you may choose to use all 6 or just a couple of them. That's totally up to you as well. Just whatever is coming out pretty for you, that's what you want to do. I don't even think I need the second set of leaves. think I'm going to place that one right there to finish it off. How pretty is that? So you can add as many as you like or as few as you like, however you want to do them. All those glue hairs off of there. Ink the edges, don't ink the edges, all sorts of stuff. And then it just tucks right back into the box and it's done. You can put a name on here, anything you want. How cute! And I do feel like this one's a little sturdier than the 1.5, but they're both great. This one was my fault that I broke it down. But as long as you don't shove down on it, it's going to be fine. But you want to take your box out and put it in while you're holding it, not shoving down on a table. And then I'm going to finish it off with my little piece of ribbon. And all I did was cut. This is about 8 inches, guys. And I'm just going to fold it over like so. How do I want to do it? Trying to get my tails like I want them. That's better. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of glue and tack those together just so they stay like that. And then I think I'm going to tuck it so I can still lift up that flower. That looks good. I'm going to pull that apart. I didn't get them wide enough apart for my liking. Just going to redo it. There we go. That's right. So once you have that like you want, I'm just going to leave that loop on there. You can cut it off if you want to. Just putting a little hot glue on it. And I'm just going to take my tool and tuck it right down in there. And it's stuck, it won't come out, and then you can lift your box out with the ribbon. Completely finished. Yay. Okay, does anybody have any questions on how that goes together? And again, you may have a couple of flowers left. You can figure out ways to fit them on there. I didn't take the time to do that, but you can go in there and you can cup these and put them under your flowers. You can use them for the centers of your flowers to make them fuller. Anything that you need to do with those. I know that I said last week that we were going to do a etching of acrylic. I forgot to mention this at the beginning. And I do apologize, I meant to say that. What they told me would work did not work. I knew better than to listen to the guy at Lowe's, but I did. And anyway, what I had planned did not work. It was a complete fail. So this is why we did this project instead. I am still looking to see if there are ways to, for Explore users and even you, engravers with the makers, to get that solid etching without a Dremel, because basically so far the only thing that I have found that actually works is a Dremel. Okay, and I know that everybody doesn't have a Dremel, and that takes away from it being a quick, easy project on the etching to do an etching like Armor Etch will not etch it. I had somebody ask me about that 2 or 3 times this week. it will not etch it. It won't touch plastic. It even says on the bottle that it won't etch plastic. So I'm still looking. I looked at a couple of chemical types, but from what I gather on those, it doesn't do anything except melt the acrylic. So I'll keep looking. I'll keep researching that, and if I come up with something, we'll do a project. And if not, we can only engrave with our makers if I can't figure out a solution. Does anybody have any other questions? And as always, don't forget you can come and ask those in the groups. You can also send me suggestions on Messenger if you have project suggestions. I think I'm going to glue that down just a little bit further in there. Tons of things, guys, coming your way. Most of my files will be supporter-only files at this point. So I'm not happy with that. I'll probably pull that out. Yes, it's a little sander. You can do several things with it. So make sure you guys give a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. You have to be a monthly subscriber to get this file. It is uploaded and ready to go for you guys. If you have any problem with the file, please let me know and I will correct it ASAP, as with any of my files. And again, make sure that you send me your project suggestions and stuff like that. Thanks to all my moderators and supporters. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And I will catch you on our next live, which will be on Saturday at noon, I believe. I have to double check the calendar, guys, because I will forget. Let's see if I can find my calendar here. There it is. Let me pull that up so you guys can see that as well. And transition over so you can see it. Yes, at noon Saturday. So I still haven't decided what we're going to do. I think I'm going to do a pop-up Valentine card to go with this box. So I will get that made tomorrow and post it up for you guys. Good night, everybody. Thank you.